And we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are going to now go through the power rankings that were released this week on NFL.com. So we'll run through that, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. If there's teams that should be up, if there's teams that should be lower, higher or lower. So we'll go through that right now. So starting at 32, you got the Arizona Cardinals. They're 1-7. Obviously, they just traded Joshua Dobbs. However, with Kyler Murray's return looming, I think that it's obviously going to change. I think he'll win them a couple more games, so they'll have somewhat of a more respectable record. I don't think they're going to finish the year with one win. But it's interesting because right now we're unsure of who's going to start. It's either going to be rookie Clayton Tune or it's going to be Kyler Murray on Sunday, now with Joshua Dobbs getting traded. But right now he's at the Cardinals are at 32, but I think that's going to change. Panthers picking up their first win of the season. They improved to 1-6 on the year. They moved up to 31. I really don't have any complaints with that. The Giants are at 30. I mean, no complaints with that either. I mean, they have probably the worst offense in football. The quarterback position is a mess now. Now Tyrod Taylor got released from the hospital with the rib injury, so that's good that he's all right. And it says Daniel Jones, is cleared. So we'll see if he's playing on Sunday. I mean, I guess it seems like it, unless it's going to be Tommy DeVito, who the Giants just did not let him throw the ball at all. Which was interesting. And the other thing, too, is so Daniel Jones was cleared before the game, but he was still ruled out. There was a lot of, miscommunication there, it seems, with last week. But honestly, I think it's better that he didn't play because, again, this is his second neck injury that he's dealt with. So you want to make sure that he's ready to play. You don't want to just throw him in and he gets hurt again. So, I mean, I'm fine with him not playing last week, but I think now, if he's cleared to play, he should be playing against the Raiders because the Giants, they need a quarterback that's going to be able to move the ball. I mean, if Tommy DeVito's starting on Sunday, and apparently Darren Waller looks like he's unlikely to play, so we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, I mean, to get Daniel Jones back, that's big because at least you can have a quarterback that can, somewhat operate the offense. But, yeah, the Giants are 2-6. I have no complaints with that. Bears are 2-6. I mean, yeah, Tyson Bagent, everybody was going crazy after the win over the Raiders and then against the Chargers on Sunday night. I mean, what did you expect? The Bears were never really in that game. But, he did have a couple of nice throws, but it just didn't amount to anything. That big play to Mooney to start off the game, but they didn't get any points out of that drive. But, yeah, I mean, the Sunday night game against the Chargers kind of, brought us back to reality with the Bears. And we'll see what happens with Fields when he's going to come back. I think Bagent's going to start again against the Saints this upcoming week, so we'll see what happens. But no complaints there. Patriots at 28. I mean, they did pick up a win against the Bills a couple weeks ago, and then they lost by a couple of scores against the Dolphins. There were some complaints about the officiating in that game. And, the Patriots, I mean, they hung around in that game. But, ultimately they still lost by 2 scores. But, yeah, no complaints there. Commanders, they're at 27. They're 3-5. I mean, listen, Sam Howell, passed for a lot of yards against the Eagles the other day. I mean, they lost by 7 points. But they kind of mailed it in now with trading some of their defensive linemen on defense. So, they went down a couple of spots. Raiders went down 2 spots. I mean, that was just an ugly... I honestly would put the Commanders over the Raiders. That performance against the Lions, I mean, if it wasn't for the pick 6, that game should have been 26-7. I mean, really. Not a good performance by the Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo, 9 interceptions on the season. He hasn't played in every single game this year. And, yeah, they're kind of a mess right now. But, I mean, with the firing of McDaniels and Ziegler, this could be a step in the right direction for them. So, yeah, they're at 26. Packers, I think the Packers should be, I think, at 27. I mean, right now, their offense might be, the worst in football. Between them and the Giants, honestly, or the Raiders. I would put the Raiders over the Packers just because the Raiders beat them. Commanders, I would put over the Packers right now. I mean, I might even put the Patriots over the Packers, honestly. I mean, the Packers offense, it like the last like few weeks, it's been the same thing. They don't do anything in the first half, and then they wake up in the second half, and then it's too late. I mean, they were moving the ball against the Vikings. They got down in the red zone, but they just couldn't cash in. But yeah, it's been bad. It's been really bad for the Packers. The Broncos at 24. I mean, yeah, they deserve to be where they are, going up 3 spots on these, at least these power rankings. Because yeah, I mean, you beat the Chiefs. You've won 2 in a row. Give them credit. I mean, Russell Wilson didn't pass for a ton of yards the other day. I mean, they got good field position off the Chiefs' turnovers, but yeah, I mean, they're 3-5 now. Obviously, they still got blown out, by the Dolphins in week 3. That's never going to go away. But hey, I mean, you string together a couple of wins, maybe you get yourself back to 500 somehow. They are on a bye this week. They do play the Bills, I think, out of the bye, so that's going to be a tough game. But yeah, I mean, the defense is playing better, so you got to give them credit. 3-5. Now they got a more respectable record. So, the Colts, they're ahead of them. They went down a couple of spots. They're 3-5. I mean, the offense still has put up a lot of points these last couple of weeks. They lost 38-27 against the Saints this past week. They lost that shootout against the Browns 2 weeks ago. Minshew hasn't been bad. He's been a productive backup for them. But, I mean, the Colts are going to be, on the back end of these power rankings a lot. I don't really expect that. I think they probably finish with maybe 6 or 7 wins this year. But we'll see. We'll see. So they're at 3-5. Titans went up 4 spots. I mean, Will Levis, what a debut. 4 touchdowns. And now tomorrow night he's going to be playing the Steelers. In Pittsburgh. So that should be an interesting game. Kenny Pickett said he's going to play. So, we'll see how Will Levis does against that defense, in Pittsburgh tomorrow night. TJ Watt, is going to be coming at him. So, that's, but what a debut for him. They got DeAndre Hopkins involved finally. So, Titans at 22. Rams are at 21. Yeah, they're kind of they're kind of falling apart here a little bit. These last 2 weeks have not been good against the Steelers, and then getting blown out by the Cowboys. Matthew Stafford dealing with the thumb injury. Yeah, the defense hasn't looked as good as it was in previous years. Yeah, I mean, they're a team right now that looks like they're going to win maybe another team that might win 7 games, especially if Stafford misses any time. Now, they play the Packers this week, so if Stafford plays, I mean, I think they should win that. If not, Brett Rippon's going to get the start, but I mean, I think the Rams could win that, regardless of who's playing quarterback, because the Packers just don't look good right now. The Bucs are at 20. They went down 3 spots. Yeah, I mean, after 3-1, I mean, what's happened? They got to try to find their groove again. But right now, it hasn't been a good couple weeks for them. Vikings are at 19. They're at 4-4. They went up a spot. I mean, now you get Josh Dobbs in there. So we'll see. I think they could sneak in. If Josh Dobbs plays well with these weapons, I mean, they could maybe sneak in and be like that 7th wild card team. The Chargers are at 18. They went up 4 spots. I mean, they looked a lot better against the Bears. But now on Monday night, they're going to be going up against the Jets defense, at MetLife. And the Jets are really good their defense has been really good against elite quarterbacks at MetLife. I mean, I've talked about the numbers, against Hurts and Allen and and Mahomes. Justin Herbert, yeah, I mean, he might be in. He's gonna have to deal with that defense. Yeah, so it's gonna be a tough game for the Chargers, but they're at 3-4. That was the one they needed to get. Falcons, they're at 17. I mean, we'll see what they do at quarterback. Right now, they're 4-4. They're leading the division, so we'll see. We'll talk about all the divisions in the final segment, but yeah, they're at 17 right now, middle of the pack. They should start Heineke. The Texans are at 16. They took that loss to the Panthers. Panthers' first win of the season. But C.J. Stroud overall has been good this year. I mean, we'll see. I think the Texans, they probably, I think they're definitely in for a few more wins here, but I don't expect them to make the playoffs. But this is a team that definitely has taken, a big step forward. And, D'Amico Ryans has done a nice job. So, the Texans, they're on the come up. But right now, they're a middle of the pack team. Steelers right now are at 15. They went down a couple of spots after the loss to Jacksonville. I mean, this is going to be a team that's fighting for a wild card spot. I mean, similar to the Texans, I don't know if the Texans are going to make it. I don't know if the Steelers are going to make it. The way their offense has been inconsistent. They're going to be without Minkah Fitzpatrick on Thursday. That's a big loss. But I think the Steelers, I mean, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I think the Steelers, if Kenny Pickett does play, I think they should win. But Mitchell Trubisky, I mean, when he came in, he did bad. I mean, he threw a touchdown to Pickens, but I think he had 2 picks. He was not good. But yeah, Steelers middle of the pack. They actually had the Saints going up 5 spots after they went over the Colts. And yeah, I mean, it's encouraging. Kamara's looked good. Rashid Shaheed had a couple of deep passes that were thrown to him. One of them was for a touchdown. So him and Carr actually have connected on a couple of deep balls this year. Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife, he continues to be a weapon for them. So, that was a big win for them. They get back to 500. And, the Saints, listen, I mean, they could take a hold on this division because the Falcons with their question marks at quarterback, the Bucs struggling. I mean, listen, the Saints, they got the team to do it. It's just, they just got to go out and do it. The Jets are at 13. I don't have any complaints there. I mean, their defense is really the strength of the team. Their offense couldn't do anything against the Giants other than the Breece Hall play, and it was all Breece Hall. I mean, you could credit Zach Wilson for the touchdown pass, but it was really Breece Hall just, avoiding tackles and going down the sideline and scoring on that play. I mean, that was a great play by him. But yeah, I mean, the Jets are 4-3, and I think they could win on Monday night against the Chargers. The Browns are at 12. They went down a couple of spots. Obviously, losing against Seattle was tough. I mean, they had the lead, and then Geno Smith. P.J. Walker threw a pick. Geno Smith, threw the game-winning touchdown, the go-ahead touchdown pass in that game. So they lost that. They're 4-3. They're playing the Cardinals this week, so I think they could bounce back. If they got their rookie quarterback starting and not Kyler. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting what happens moving forward because, Sean Watson hasn't played well this year for the Browns. So they're kind of in a little bit of a predicament there. So we're in the top 11. So you got the Bengals. They're a spot below Seattle. I would put them above Seattle, even though Seattle has a better record than them. The Bengals look like they're back. Joe Burrow's moving around better. He's getting away from having that bad calf, which you love to see. Because I mean he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and you want to see him and Chase connecting on those deep throws, and they looked good on Sunday against the 49ers, and they beat Seattle, so I would put them ahead of Seattle. Bills are at 9. And we'll see what happens this week when these two teams play each other, the Bills and the Bengals, one of the best games of the weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. So they're at 9. 49ers dropped 5 spots. They're all the way down to 8. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, they really have not been playing well. The Lions, they got at 7. Cowboys at 6. I'd probably still put... I'd probably put the Cowboys at 8, actually. I'd put the Lions and the Niners over them. That's just me. Jags are 5. Chiefs are 4 after their bad loss to the Broncos. Then they got the Dolphins at 3, Ravens at 2, Eagles at 1. I'm fine with the Eagles being at 1. Yeah, I mean 2, 3, and 4. I can't really argue with that right now. I mean the Dolphins play the Ravens later in the year. They play the Chiefs this week, so that will tell us how these teams stack up against each other. The Jags in the top 5. Yeah, I don't complain. I'm not complaining about that. Their defense has been playing good. They still got things to work out on offense, but I can't really complain about the power rankings. There's no major complaints there. Just a couple things I'd move around, but yeah. So that's basically the power rankings for this week. So with that, we are going to take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we will discuss the standings as they are right now after Week 8. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.